I don't make a sound when I strike. You better just run for your life.
Hey everybody, so this is Intseo back here with another video. Today's guild war is going to be against Veritas, whom I'm sure you guys all know of. They're a top ranked guild. Since pretty much last season and the season before that, they've been really competitive in rankings. And today we're going to be hitting their top fort, bot fort, and the stronghold. And my thought process behind these attacks were pretty much that I wanted Violet to essentially nuke out the A-Ravi first, kill the Yuna just from counterattack, and then kill the Makken from a counterattack into an S3. It didn't work quite the way I expected it would, and this is going to be a post-commentary, guys, just because I didn't notice that my sound was off, or my mic wasn't picking up my audio, until after I already recorded my attacks, and it's not like I can go back and do the attacks again. So yeah. This is basically just going to be an S1 until I get to charge up my S3, which happens right around here. And his Yuna and his Makken were both extremely squishier than I expected them to be. I don't know. I was pretty shocked by how brittle his Makken was too. I think he has like 11k here when I saw the footage. I mean, normally they hit pretty hard even with like 15k HP, so I thought this like 11k HP was gonna like just hit like a truck, but even on a crit counter he didn't really do that much to my F-Maya. So I was a little bit surprised, but maybe it's just a gearing issue, or maybe he swapped gear off or forgot to put it back on, I guess. So we're gonna go ahead and S3 here, and my Violet is built as a glass cannon essentially. 25,000 damage, pretty fucking crazy. We're going to counter here. I didn't even need the Violet secondary S3, which is what I was planning on using. But yeah, so GG on that first fight. And I have the other fights recorded as well, but they also don't have sound. So I'm just going to be doing a voice commentary or a post-game commentary for all of this, and just kind of explain my thought processes on these fights. So normally my Carmen outspeeds Arbiters because she's around like 205. And my guildmate told me she was around he was around 190, 195, I think. And so I thought I would win the speed RNG, but I guess they eventually corrected it later, saying that he's like 211 or 210. So my SSB and my Carmen both died here, which is super important and annoying to me because I use them all the time. This was a really close fight in general. If his SSB was built more damage than it was on HP Bruiser, he probably would have won this fight. But yeah. Oh, sorry, spoiler there. Yeah, my Makken goes apeshit here. He does Makken stuff. These counterattacks on non-crits were basically what won me this fight. Had his SSB actually made it to get to another S3, he might have actually killed me. So good game on the first fight there. We're going to go ahead and dive into the second battle as well, and kind of explain my thought processes on that fight as well. Alright guys, getting into this second fight here, we're going to be fighting the bottom fort, Reikos. And my thought process here was that I just wanted somebody to strip and lock down the Troublemaker Crozet, which is going to be Clary. And then I just wanted to go ahead and debuff lockdown this entire team. I already knew from the report that Steny didn't have immunity, and that none of the three were anything very high in effective resistance to a noticeable point. For Team 2, I wanted to bring something similar to SSB, Carmen, and Makken. And the closest thing I had to that was Elena instead of Carmen for the invincibility buff, and then a resistance buff, and then Apocalypse Ravi for a counterattack set, just for good measure, and because it's safe to bring a Ravi since she's so beefy, still hits hard, and can also resurrect people. So right away from the start, we're going to go ahead and strip the Troublemaker Crozet's immunity buff, which is the important part in this fight, because now my Dizzy is free to just kind of do her own thing. And we're going to go ahead and debuff everybody here. My Dizzy is rocking a counterattack set. She's fairly tanky at 18,000 HP. I think she has around like 1.4, 1.5k defense. And she's running a plus 30 Abyssal Crown. So the stuns in this fight should be pretty funny. Here we go. It begins. And Clury, aside from just being the person that's going to control the Troublemaker Crozet so that they don't have any cleansing, she's amazing just because she can rotate so many times and push the ally CE's combat readiness as well. And yeah, so as you can see here, they're all stunned. None of them are doing anything. This fight is basically just a huge control lockdown team, which is why I like bringing this when I can, which is only if I know that they have no effect resistance. Primarily because you can do stuff like this where it's just really safe and you just kind of... Honestly, I probably could have put this on auto after I was initially done using my Clury S3 on Troublemaker Crozet, because he wasn't going to do anything after that point. This first team, I feel like if I had to comment on any improvements that could be made to it for Rakos, it would be to either get high effect resistance on Maid or put an immunity set on Stene so that she can't initially get debuffed. If not, another good thing would be running another DPS instead of a Maid. I don't know. I just don't think Maid really does much here. I think Charles on a speed set would do essentially what Maid does, which is just giving an attack buff to Stene. But he would offer a lot more threat potential just because he can counterattack. And also hold Elbrus or Holy Sack. Either one is really good on Charles. Yeah, I just didn't feel like there was enough damage potential here. That's why I was so confident bringing a team like this. But yeah, nonetheless, you know, this is still a top tier guild. He's obviously a top tier defense for their guild as well. Otherwise, he wouldn't be a castle. So GG on this first fight nonetheless. But yeah, there wasn't anything too crazy about this fight. And if you guys, you know, if you want to take away anything from this gameplay footage, it would just be to kind of really think about what each individual team is going to be bringing to the table and what unit kind of breakdown does for each portion of that fight, I guess. So right here, we're going to go ahead and start it off with an Elena S3. I do have a speed set on my Elena and then high effect resistance, or decently high effect resistance. My A Ravi is on a counter set and also has pretty good speed, I would like to imagine, compared to most that I've seen anyways. And we were basically just gonna kind of go off the assumption that we could just win this by counterattacks. This was the only hiccup in the plan, was getting defense broken by the initial S2 from SSB. Had my Elena not been on Magahara's Tome and on a speed set, I wouldn't have been able to lap here. So thank goodness, because I cleansed both of the defense breaks off there. And now this fight became pretty much 100% free now. So Ruel already used the S3 onto Charles because my Makan and my A-Ravi nuked him. Now the only thing that's left is just to kill off the Ruel, and then last but not least, the Charles. So we land a really nice dual attack here. And yeah, Ruel is just gone. And then Charles kind of does his thing. The good thing about bringing Elena here was I was confident that Charles wasn't going to kill her unless he counterattacked prior to this. But yeah, even then I had my A-Ravi S3 prepared as well. And that is the end of the fight there, ending it with some style points with A-Ravi's S3. Easily one of my favorite S3 animations in this game. Alright guys, we're going to go ahead and hop into the Stronghold commentary now, and I will be right back. Alright guys, so we are at the Stronghold now, and basically my guildmates, or just my guildmate Andy, we kind of shoot shit a lot, and I wanted to force a Little Queen Charlotte team just to test her out and debut her. Probably wasn't the smartest plan, but yeah, so for this first team, my plan was just to kind of tank out their LQC. I wasn't sure what the build was here, so I brought a Ravi just because you never know if it's going to be a damage, like a glass cannon LQC. And I got my maid just for extra reassurance in case my Aravi does die. She can come back on a resurrect. And then my Crow so I can get a defense buff up before the LQC goes. Which is perfect because honestly, had my Crow and my maid not been my choices in this first fight, I might have actually lost here. I would have lost my Aravi here, because as you can see, that damage is insanely strong. I have a defense buff, and my Aravi already has fairly decent defense stats. I think she's around 1300 defense. So that with a defense buff almost died, which is crazy. It makes me reconsider the thoughts of maybe putting my little Queen Charlotte back on a nuking type of build. So right here, we're going to go ahead and get rid of this Lilius just because she just always causes problems for me. It just adds a lot more RNG. And we're going to go ahead and Crow Horsey the Charles. My only worry was if it missed, which it did right there. It only left him. I mean, he barely has any health here. This fight's pretty much over now. My only worry was maybe losing Crow, but I have my Aravi's S3 once again, so not too worried. We're going to go ahead and use the S3 from some style points, and, you know, didn't kill, but at least I have Crow. So GG on that first fight. Pretty cool little Queen Charlotte build. I like it. Now the second fight is where I really should have just brought a Clury, since my Clury is tanky, or my Alencia to tank the Kayron's S3 here, because I realized after getting in here that I didn't have a bait, so Kayron was just going to target the lowest HP percent, which happened to be my Makan. And, you know, fuck my life, so he died. I already knew that this fight was over at this point. Yeah, so I fucked it up. Had I brought Alencia and baited out that initial S3, my SS Akates would have went, or Acades, I don't know how the fuck you guys pronounce this name. My Acades would have went, and I would have been able to S3 my Makan for 3 turns of immortality, and I would have shit-stomped this comp. Hands down, I'm so confident I would have won, had I not fucked around and forced Little Queen Charlotte into my comp. But I am my guild's feeder, so, you know, it is what it is. I fucked it up. It's okay.
They ask you how you are.
Whatever. You live and you learn.
You're not
To
really
be honest, though, my
just
thought
can't get
process
into it
there
because they would never
was
understand.
I was under the impression that the damage mitigation or the crit damage mitigation from Little Queen Charlotte's passive was gonna be enough. Obviously, as you can see from this, it wasn't. So yeah, that's it for today's fights, guys. It was a great match, Veritas. I think it's a really close fight so far. So yeah. Hey everybody. So I just wanted to get kind of update on the Guild War, since my attacks were recorded pretty early on in the morning. Yeah, it's a really close Guild War, guys. We are probably gonna lose this just depending on how these last few attacks go. But as long as the rest of the attacks or the last few attacks go well and we don't int them, we're probably going to full clear them, and they're probably going to full clear us too. But nonetheless, you know, GG to Veritas. I just wanted to show you guys kind of like a close to the end type of footage here. And yeah, thank you so much for watching, guys. And if you have any questions on, you know, my stats or anything like that, feel free to ask in the comments below, and I'll go ahead and show you guys that as well. And I am planning on releasing a top 5 used RTA heroes, or my biased top 5 RTA heroes. If you guys would be interested in seeing something like that, feel free to let me know in the comments below. Or if you guys have any other ideas, then feel free to drop that in the comments as well. Alright, thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, till the next video, peace.